Oh, Laura, you'd like to know if there are areas that the leopards go to that are not frequented by... Oh, here we go, landing. Shh. Awesome. Oh! Attack! Play nicely, you guys. Come on. Yes, there's definitely areas in the Kruger National Park where there's very few vehicles, roads, and or tourists where there will be leopards. Not so much here in the Sabi Sands. The Sabi Sands is quite a well mapped out area with lots of roads. Oh, well, we're getting a real show here, and I never thought we would have seen the geese landing as I wished them to do a little bit earlier so many times. So yeah, I don't know if you want to elaborate on your question and what you mean by that, because I don't feel I've answered it exactly how you may want it to be, but if I have, then that's so be it. That's all good. And it's also important to remember that leopards occur quite widely throughout, not just in South Africa, but throughout Africa, outside of game reserves. They can be very, very stealthy and discreet, and therefore can go about being undetected and survive outside of national parks and reserves. So I guess there will be people there. Oh, interestingly, there were all these geese here yesterday. So it seems like this is an ongoing dispute. I didn't see them fighting yesterday, but when I drove past, I thought, this is interesting that there are so many of them. Now, I actually saw 5 here yesterday. Now there's only 4. Don't know who the spare wheel was, the 5th one. And it sounds like you guys are getting some great audio of these guys squabbling away with one another. Come on! Oof! What happened there? Senza seems to think it missed. That might be a good opportunity to do a little slow-mo, that little scene we've just seen there, when the one, it almost seemed like it tried to land on the other one and push it down with its feet. Sadly, one of our machines in the final control is on strike, so we can't do a slow-motion replay, but it should be back in action in the next few days. Okay, we're going to send you across to Steve to see what he is getting up to and which leopard he is actually trying to spot.
It's very exciting. We haven't managed to find her, but Tex was just off road here with the female leopard that just killed what I think was a duiker, but it's just vanished into thin air. So Tex is just in front of us having a look. So I think I'm going to go back a bit again, because there's only, what are the chances of it going too far with it is not great. I don't think she'll have gone as far as we've moved off, but the vegetation's very, very thick, but it was definitely a female leopard. There's all sorts of assumptions going on in my ear about which one it might be, but let's see if we can find it first and see if we can identify it for you. Well, I'm not sure if I'll be able to identify it, but I know some of you out there are experts with your ID kits. Robin, how long does it take to habituate a leopard? Essentially, if you find a leopard that's already habituated, it's very quick to habituate the cub. But it can take months, sometimes even years, to habituate an adult. And that's just got to do with constantly following them and not giving them any negative sort of behavior. So it can take months, and it also depends if you do it properly. Some people don't know how to do it properly, and then you end up just chasing the animal that you spent all this hard work trying to habituate. I'm sorry that I'm not looking back at you folks, but we're trying to see if we can get any sign of this beautiful cat. Okay, while we search for everything that's going on here, which seems to be lots, let's go over to Taylor with a big Ellie.
Oh yeah, no, what a disaster. I'll have to show you what we were trying to line up, everyone. This is not an elephant. This is Hosanna. I promise you we can tell the difference between the various animal species out here. Let me try to find a picture. That's quite cool, actually. My photos are not great because the light is... You're finding the elephant. I'm going to get a photo. There's our friend the elephant who's not playing games with us this morning. We'll go and see. Maybe he's going to have a drink, which could be quite nice. Here we go, Seb. I've managed to get one. Okay, it's not the greatest photo because the trying to get the light right between the elephant and the shade. Can you see it? It's... Aww. I think it's the glare.
Yeah, much glare.
Oh, that's a pity. Anyways, it's basically the elephant out of focus, which is what we're going to try and do, but kind of like eye level with Hosanna and then Hosanna in focus. It was really quite cool. We'll have to post a picture a little bit later. Hosanna has got his head up, but I see Ryan's just come, so if Hosanna does do anything super exciting, I'm sure Ryan will let us know. I just don't have the greatest comms here, but he's literally just poked his head up. Let's go see our friend swim. Elephant, please go for a bath. I'd love it if he just dived in like this. That would be great. Right, elephant. Seb, look out for that tortoise again, please. There's a tortoise roaming through the grass here, so I'm just going to watch because when you are off-roading, obviously your chances are a lot higher where in terms of driving over animals, and that's the last thing we really want to do. He is. So we're on tortoise patrol now, making sure that something that looks like elephant dung isn't just elephant dung. Not that I drive over elephant dung either. Where's the road? Okay, we're almost there. I feel like we're safe now. Meow. Chasing butterflies with a car this morning as well. Oh, that's cool, with an Egyptian goose as well. All the animals. No, Egyptian goose, don't go behind. Oops, locking the car into play. He doesn't like the Egyptian goose, that elephant. He just tried to chase it with his trunk. Look. And stay out. This is my watering hole. It's my favorite, these young elephant bulls. The way that they behave, like I always like to describe it, they're ashamed. They have had their ego bruised slightly. So even if it is something as small as an Egyptian goose, they will not tolerate. But at least he came down for a drink, which was quite nice. He's had his fill of marulas. He's probably eaten about 100 kilograms of marulas. Probably not that much, but since we've been in the sighting with Hosanna, I think he arrived sort of, 20 minutes in? He has not stopped feeding on marulas. Now, whenever we eat too many marulas, especially the green ones, people get a very upset stomach. I wonder if that's the case for elephants. But of course their digestive system is completely different to ours. And maybe a drink of water like he's doing now will help settle the stomach. I know that's what I would do, is go and gulp down a whole lot of water. Isn't that nice? That's just absolutely delicious. Is it refreshing? You can't really hear too many of the sounds. He's a very gentle drinker. He's not slurping up the water. He's keeping his trunk in his mouth for a long time though. Maybe he's at the dentist and squirting the water onto a tooth to get rid of some of that excess sort of grit. I think I heard this correctly. Mrs. Grumpy, you said you didn't realize how was it careful elephants are with their feet. I think that was the question. Expressive elephants are with their feet until he started watching Safari Live. Yeah, I suppose that's true. My favorite is when they rest a leg. So they sort of cross their back legs and just, sit and enjoy. Typically when they're standing in the shade or when they are feeding on marulas, then they do tend to relax. They can just stretch their trunks out like they do when they're taking a sip of water as well. And feed on all the fruit. We were watching it yesterday. Yesterday we had a really nice example of all the elephants doing funny things with their feet as they were drinking. Steph, you said that you think it's quite cool how he's brushing his teeth with his trunk. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was like, if you ever go to the dentist and they have that sort of high-powered jet of water that they spray on your teeth, often to get rid of all the grit that's sort of built up. That's what I was describing it as. It's like he's going in there and he's going tss, tss, tss on all the teeth to try and get rid of it. Like high-pressured flossing, perhaps. So maybe some leaves and things are all getting stuck between his teeth. And I suppose they don't really have toothpicks. I mean, I've never really seen an elephant putting a stick in its mouth, trying to get something that's stuck between his teeth out. They don't really do that. So gentle. David, you said you think he's trying to peel a marula out of his teeth. Perhaps that's the case. Perhaps indeed, especially after so many. The thing about those marulas is when we eat them, obviously you've seen the technique we do. We pull them open, we squeeze the entire seed with the flesh around it into our mouths. That flesh is quite sort of pulpy. So you can get bits of string stuck in your teeth, or I always find when I try and bite as much of the flesh off of the seed as I can. But elephants don't really do that. They typically put it in their mouth, they crush it, so they bite it, and you can imagine all that juice just squirts out into their mouth, and that's what they're going for. So they don't tear the skin off and then pop it into their mouth, although it would be entertaining if an elephant could actually do that. He's having a great time. I don't think you can hear it, the sounds that are coming from that trunk. Might be a bit far away. It sounds like this. That's me doing it though. Now it sounds like the sucker. When after the dentist has now worked on your teeth and they've also got the bit that sucks all your saliva and all the excess water. Now that sounded like that part. Oh, that didn't come in from the front end. He exerted himself slightly too much there. Actually, it was Nos. It propelled himself up the hill. All the fruits. Exactly. Now, Ryan, to try and describe to you what a marula fruit tastes like is going to be interesting. It's like a combination of a lemon. It depends also how green they are. Of a lemon. Now my mouth is salivating. Of a Sebastian, help me here. Maybe a little bit orange, not quite orangey. Like an old orange. An old orange. It hasn't quite got that, I don't know how to say it. Like, if you've ever eaten an orange or a nachi or a mandarin that's been in the sun, well, not been in the sun, but it's well past its expiry date. It sort of has that blandish flavor. You get that sort of taste coming through. Now I want to eat a marula because I'm salivating at the thought of it. Perhaps we'll have to go find one. And I'm going to try to get out of here now. I like them a little bit green because I do enjoy that sort of tartness that you get. Not everybody does, though. Otherwise, if you have them yellow, then you get that old orange taste to it. But there's definitely a lemony. I'm trying to think what else, though. There's another fruit that I just can't think of that's definitely in there. It's like something you've never tasted in your life. It almost tastes like artificial, like it should be a sweet. Let's go see our elephant. That's what he's up to now. I can see his trunk going round and round and round. He's a lovely boy, though. He's very relaxed. Very tolerant of us, of course. Thank you, Mr. Elephant, for being so tolerant. There he is. Hey, boy, are you resting your trunk on your tusk? No, they're not quite long enough to do that, I'm afraid. You've still got a bit of growing to do. He sort of wedged it between the base of his trunk and his tusk. Maybe he's holding it there now. Is it stuck? No, not stuck. Giving his tusks a good clean. Just checking they're there, they're not loose. Maybe he had to screw them back in a little bit. Oh, that's so cool. I love the way that they're able to manipulate their tusks. There goes a little goose gosling. You see, he's just walking across. Hello, where's your family? Oh, there they are. Careful, there's a big elephant coming and he doesn't seem to like your parents very much. I can't imagine he's going to tolerate you two. Waddling away. Oh, yum. Eating all sorts of delicious things. Maybe some grass seeds or some grass. Those goslings are really funny the way that they walk. I wonder if elephants ever stand and just watch things too, you know, for entertainment. I would. Peck, peck, peck. On an animal pathway you can see there, most likely a hippo path. Easy to navigate for those little legs. Pecking on all sorts of things as they go on through. Oh, they're so cute. I can sort of... I don't know where my comms have just disappeared to. I can sort of hear Faith in the distance, but it's like she's 100 miles away. Okay, well, I try and figure out what's going on with our communication in this car. I'm going to send you to Scott. I don't know what he has.
Well, good luck, Taylor, in rectifying your comms. There was a bird called the black flycatcher that I was hoping to show you, but as the birds often do, it flitted off. And looks very similar to a fork-tailed drongo. They could be easily confused with one another. It's just that their tail doesn't have a big fork in it. It's kind of square, but the bird itself is very similar looking. And Marco, you asked for us to try and find you some woodpeckers. They're tricky customers, the woodpeckers. They usually don't kind of hang around too much. They're quite active and move around a lot, but we do get lucky from time to time, and I'll be sure to try and get one on camera if we see one for you. Not a tricky customer, but we like challenges, so that's a good one. Well, you would like to know how much damage could a goose attack do to somebody? I mean, I guess it depends on who the person is. If they are very frail, weak, and scared of birds, it could, it could provide that person with a horrifying sighting or scene. If a goose tried to attack me, I would grab it by the neck and swing it around and throw it away. And I think that would be the end of that. Having said that, though, if you want to know the last goose that I would like to be attacked by, it would be the spurwing goose. And as their name suggests, they've got spurs on their shoulder, you could say, of the shoulder portion of their wing. Would be the easiest way of describing it. So when a bird's kind of sitting like this, they've got about the males, a 1-inch spine that grows out of their wings, and they use those for fighting with one another. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to worry about being attacked by a goose. Even though the domestic ones can be quite cheeky and can be useful watchdogs, it's more to kind of sound the alarm than to actually cause any damage to anyone. Well, there's some wonderful news. It seems like Steve is in position with Tandy.
Thank you very much, Scotty D. There she is. Thanks to Rexon, who managed to find her. She is definitely on the move and using this little termite mound to her advantage. Very, very thick in here. Very tall grass. She's probably on the lookout for a duiker or a steenbok, or maybe even a nyala. Haven't seen any impala in this area in the last few days, but we did see some kudu and some nyala on the way in, and there's no doubt of there's steenbok in this area. Very away. Sorry about the aerial that might come into shot from time to time. Did she just call there, Dave? Yes. Tandy, Tandy, Tandy. Here she is, thanks to Rexon, of course. Another one of the leopard whisperers of Djuma. So, I'm sorry we had to leave the lions, folks, but a leopard moving, and Thandi no less. She's going to come around this side and say hello. Here she comes. Going to walk right past my leg. Isn't that marvelous? She isn't too interested in the smell of my shoes, but she was about 2 feet from my foot. She's definitely smelling. You see her low posture in the grass. She's moving through very deliberately. Dacre and Steenbok leave scent trails behind, but what she must also be careful of, I don't think it's a big issue, but there's a breeding herd of elephant sort of in the direction she's moving now. Small breeding, we've just lost sight of them in the thick bush there. But look at this, eh? Can you imagine trying to find that if Dave's panned out like that? How do you see this cat? Incredible, incredible. Thanks, Tex. Rexon, for getting us in. And Del, I don't know when her last meal was. I haven't seen Thandi in a few days. No idea. I honestly have no idea. There's a lot that goes on with these leopards on a day-to-day basis that we don't know about. So, and we haven't seen her. I mean, I know Taylor saw her yesterday, but by her movement, I'd say she's hungry, and she's looking for something in the long grass, and anything could get spooked by her as she wanders through. Let's just hope we don't lose her. Just like that, they can disappear, so we have to be very careful. Don't want to lose this majestic leopardess. KB, indeed, she is much smaller than Hosanna. That is the difference between males and females. A female really has no chance against a large male leopard. There she is over there. She's busy smelling something. She's gone in a big circle. Let's see if we can just get you to that spot there. What is she doing? She's doing a phlegm response, folks. Probably the urine of a male that's moved through here. Maybe Djuma the other day, or if Tingana is still around doing his thing. But she's definitely sticking her nose into something. And watch if she lifts her head up again, if she does that phlegm grimace as she lifts the lip up to reveal the fangs. Let's have a look. No, she's not. There's definitely something of interest there for her. Hello, beautiful queen. Yes, so much smaller than Hosanna. And we're going to see if we can keep following her through the long grass here. It's rather difficult. Ooh, need to know, Tandy is not a skittish leopard. If you're talking about the one, sorry, I'm not familiar with that, but Tandy's not skittish. She is a very well documented movie star. Not with oh, you got her there, Dave. So apparently Scott gave that update on the Gave Jive channel. I'm not sure. The leopard that we were following before, when I originally came into the area here, Texan had a leopard, and it apparently went for something. I misinterpreted it on the radio. It didn't actually kill something. It chased a kudu. I was unfamiliar with the word for kudu, and that one is only about maybe 200 meters north of where we are now. And at the same time we were following up on that, Rexon found this female. So there's another female not far away as well, but she just vanished in the long grass, which is why we need to keep a very special eye on her, because she might do the same. Aegis would like to know if the skittish leopard would give Thandi and her cub a hard time. If it's a male, then yes, it would give her a hard time. If it's Tingana, then no. If it's just another female, then I doubt it will cause too much of a scene. There might be some posturing and stuff between Thandi and the cub herself, but it doesn't benefit that female, if it is a female, to cause Thandi's cub any harm. It benefits her absolutely nothing at all, unless she intends to eat it, which is something that leopards do from time to time. They do eat other leopards, but I don't think we should have too much of a problem with a female on Thandi's cub, but then who knows? Okay, Faith, I am going to link Steve to Scott, is what she said to me. I'm going to go to Scott, who has got some Warthog, while we try to keep up with this cat.
Yes, we do indeed have a family of warthogs, and it's quite an interesting composition because that's the smallest one over there, and then there's two bigger ones. But the two bigger ones don't appear to be old enough to be the young one's mother. They look like warthogs that were born the year before last. The smallest one would have been born around November, December last year, and the bigger ones the year before. So I wonder where their mother could be. And for those of you that don't know, these animals live a life of leisure, and they like to sleep in the mornings. And if you're lucky enough to know where their termite mound is, or the burrow that they live in, you can kind of see them slowly just kind of edging out, taking their time, making sure there's no leopards waiting for them. And as they kind of lounge around and relax and wait to start their day, you sometimes get lucky and actually see them yawning. And seeing this is a request from Nikki. She would like to see what it looks like when a warthog yawns. And obviously, you know, they've got a long mouth, and it goes something like this. I'm going to make a sound, but it doesn't make a sound when they do it. It's a silent yawn, but I'm going to make a noise. It goes something like this. They can't get their mouth very wide. They just go. That's a warthog yawn. And quite happy that these guys have been relaxed. They usually can be quite nervous, but these guys are really just enjoying feeding on what looks to be mainly the grass seeds. You can see they're just feeding on the terminal kind of edge of these blades of grass. So it's the seeds they're after for now. Wonderful. I'm happy to hear that a lot of you found the warthog yawn funny. Hopefully we'll be able to find you the real thing one day, because it is absolutely hilarious. The first time I saw it happen, I nearly fell out the car. It was so funny. Daryl, you would like to know if warthogs will fight with one another for competition, and yes, it's mainly the men that will fight over the females. So yes, there's no two ways about that. And I heard you were discussing kind of skittish leopards and the likelihood of them fighting with other leopards. In my opinion, leopards are only skittish of us, they're not skittish of one another, so be it male or female, the leopards will fight as and when they need to. So I think the fact that there is this other female quite close to where Tandy is a bit of a concern, because leopardess will fight quite ferociously with one another over turf. Who knows, maybe they already have been kind of working out their differences. Again, so much happens without our knowledge. Archer. Very good. Well, it sounds like a few of the other animals, not just the big cats, are getting some game time today. Taylor's found you a massive waterbuck.
Not quite as big as the one I suspect that the lions ate the other night, but an impressive splay of horns nonetheless. and he's behaving very well for us. Thank you, Mr. Waterbuck, for being on your absolute best behavior. He's got a very, very thick neck, wide set shoulders, well, and quite a big belly too, which I assumed is filled with grass. Hello, big boy. Are you making your way down towards Treehouse Dam? I think that's eventually where he's going to go this morning. As I don't actually know what the temperature is now. I'm going to say it feels about 26 or 27, 26 degrees Celsius already. I might be a little bit off though. Possibly. That is stunning. And it's not often that the waterbuck in South Africa stand still for us. They normally sort of pause and look shocked at you for a couple of seconds, and then they quickly do a spin and run away. Beautiful. Just listening around. Might also be because he's approaching the dam that he knows he needs to be careful. Maybe he's listening out for any predators that could be moving around in the area, waiting for him, waiting to pounce. A lovely feather. Not a feather. He's not a feather. Fella is what I was supposed to try and get out. Look at those horns sort of look like branches. He's actually got a very wide splay of horns. We've seen some magnificent waterbuck bulls at the moment. We're quite lucky, aren't we? Still just listening, watching him. He's also trying to sniff the air. And Nicole, you've pointed out his heart-shaped nose, and that's one of your favorite things about waterbuck. It is. It's quite precious, isn't it? It's always fitting for Valentine's Day. I like the sort of white that's outlining the nose as well. That's quite pretty. And you can see it moving, like flaring his nostrils, trying to bring in all the scents that are swirling as the wind starts to pick up. And his nose is nice and wet, so that's normally a good indication that he's fairly healthy. If it starts to dry out and become sort of mucus encrusted, that's not normally a good sign. It means that they've got an illness of some sort and may need to change their diet and eat a medicinal plant to try to help heal themselves. They're really, really stunning creatures. And he's also got a white beard like Father Christmas too.
Sorry.
Can you see the white beard underneath there? Reptilian research, you said he kind of looks like a reindeer. I suppose this is what, the South African version, or the African version of a reindeer. Yes, except without the antlers and in place horns that he never loses. Matching. Like that, white around the eyes, a sort of white beard, and then white around the nose. Very cool. Very, very nice. Well, that's a lovely sighting. Let's carry on though. Seb, I think we're going to see some reptiles this morning. What do you think?
Okay, not in the car though, please.
Seb says no reptiles in the car. For that, I'm going to catch a boomslang. No, I'm joking. I'm not touching any venomous snakes. And we'll try and look at some that may be crossing the road. Don't worry, Seb. That's the first time I've ever heard you be nervous. Like, so your voice changed completely there. You were in snake, not your favorite. He doesn't like them apparently. No, shouldn't have told me that, Seb. Right. Oh my goodness. Did I hear correctly? Has Steve found you something else that's not an Nkahuma lion? Let's go take a look.
Thanks very much, Taylor. So we've managed to come out of the block, and we're still with Tandy. Another vehicle has joined the sighting as well. Tom from the north, one of the landowners. There she is, walking through the long grass. Such a pretty lady, isn't she? Ah, there we go. That was for the camera. Isn't she a superstar? I mean, look at that, folks. Invisible, isn't it? If we didn't know it was there, it would not be seen. I don't know if you can hear on the audio in front of my car. I've got some dwarf mongooses losing their mind at the fact that there's a leopard approaching. There we go. You might just see two vehicles. Sorry about the back of the vehicle. We've just had Tandy walk directly behind us. And sorry about the aerial, but there's nothing we can do about that. Okay, we're going to continue on. See if we can keep following her for a little while. Don't want to lose her. So hold on, everybody. It's been wonderful having you on board this morning, and let's see if we can get another good view of this beautiful leopardess. There she goes. Try and get in front of her. Try and get an idea of the direction she's heading, and then move in a way to try and intercept her and get that nice sort of, as what Dave likes to call the nice two-shot. Am I right? Is it a two-shot? He likes to have my head or my face with the leopard on the other side. So let's see if we can just get a little bit further up here without losing her. Dave's keeping his eyes peeled. Hope you're all as excited as I am. Just going to tell Tex thanks very much. Thanks, Tex. Enjoy. Oh, sorry about the branches. We are in the thickets. Sidhart, do I know where the cub is? No, I have yet to see it this time around. Yet to see it. I'm terribly sorry. Okay, we're just going to stand by here. See if we can see her. Hope we haven't lost her. Just going to talk to Tom because I think he might still have seen her there, so apologies. Tom, Steve? Tom, sorry, do you still have a visual of her there? I've lost her here. Okay, copied. I'll stand by here. I think she was heading in this direction. So no, I don't know where Tandy's cub is, but we're in the area where she's been leaving it for the last few weeks. So I would assume it's not too far away. Maybe she's come from it in a search of some food and then back again. And the last time Taylor had it, it was a bit more further south from where we are, but not too far. Okay, but I think I'm going to go in here, Dave. If she's sitting down, she's coming just behind us there. Well, you're with us for the next little while we navigate and reverse in these bushes. I really do enjoy this short wheelbase vehicle. It can honestly just go everywhere. The other larger wheel-based or longer wheel-based vehicles are more like a boat. Very difficult. I'll do that now, Faith. Let's just see if we can get a view of her as she walks right past the car. Tom, I've got her here. I'm just north west of you right now. She's right in front of my car. She's just walking past us. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so Faith, if you can tell me the name again of that person who wanted to know about spot patterns, and I will, once we... Plebeium would like to know about the spot patterns. Okay, well, once I get in another position, just having a chat with Tom. Yeah, sorry, Tom, not sure exactly how far away, but yeah, I'll try keep with her here. So if you can get access, just make your way in. She's mobile now in an east direction. Okay, so Tom is just over there. He would like to see this wonderful leopardess, and we would like to show you more of her. But I need to get around this little thicket before I spend too much time chatting, because it is very quick and easy to lose a leopard in the long grass if you are not paying careful enough attention. Sorry, tree. So I apologize if I'm not communicating very well with you at the moment. But we will be back. Okay, so while I continue to get through here, let's go over to Scott and see what he's got.
Well, we're doing a kind of bird watching morning, it turns out. Good luck to Steve, trying to follow Tandy. It sounds like quite a thick area that they're having to negotiate with. This beautiful woodland kingfisher is just chilling out, allowing us for some wonderful views of it. I love the little kind of black mask over their eye. Very, very impressive. As well as the multicolored beak. But the most impressive colors are definitely on the wing. That bright turquoise color that you can see there. It's very, very impressive, and especially when they're flying. Also, when they kind of arrive here in the beginning of summer, they'll often land. They'll be calling a lot more than they've been calling now. They've been quite quiet recently. Their call goes something like this. Chick! Not really, though. It's the best that I can do. And they will often, as they land, hold their wings up to display their beautiful colorations to everyone around. That's definitely one of the highlights of when they get back in town. All of their displaying. And who knows how much longer they're going to be around for before they head out. I'm guessing it could be quite soon that they start moving out. Trish, you agree that they've got beautiful colorations and markings. And they are definitely one of the most impressive birds we get here, in my opinion. Come on. Doesn't seem to be even looking for any insects or any breakfast. Maybe it's already had a successful morning. Nicole, you also obsessed with that beautiful turquoise blue. And like I say, if you get them flying, that's when you really get the full show. Still no woodpeckers. I've been hoping to find a woodpecker for Marco, but no luck there. We've still got time though. So let's continue on and see what other feathered friends we can find flitzing about. Really wondering who that female leopard was that was seen earlier. And I guess in the coming weeks we'll hopefully be able to work out who in fact she is. Unless she's a youngster still kind of moving around trying to establish a territory for herself. But hopefully she will be kind of setting up shop then. Hopefully she also won't be too nervous and hide from us all the time. Oh, well, we were discussing vicious geese earlier and the prospects of being attacked by one. And Sally, in Canada, you say you avoid the Canada geese at all costs. You say they go for your ankles. Interesting. It's surprising that a wild goose would cause trouble with you. Although I'm guessing maybe they're ones that have been kind of fed or habituated to a point where they've lost their fear of us. Yeah, it's only domestic geese that I could foresee giving us a hard time. And even then, I mean, it is just a goose, so you should be able to defend yourself against it with relative ease. One of my friend's mothers is terrified of birds. It's the strangest thing. And when I was about 14 or 15, I was out on his farm, and we came across this baby Egyptian goose that was all on its own. So we scooped it up and took it back to the home, and we had it in, like, we put it in the laundry, I think, in a big box. Is there something on the road here? Is it something? No. I thought I'd seen a puff adder. I just saw like a slight bit of movement, but it's just some ants going about their business. There's that strange little shape, the little twig in the foreground, they're change of coloration, a tiny bit of movement, and I thought we had got lucky and found a puff adder, but not quite. Anyway, the goose was in the laundry, and we were kind of, I don't know, playing in the pool, and we just heard this almighty blood-curdling scream, and we ran into the area only to find his mom had discovered this very cute little goose, and she was horrified by it. Interesting. Anyway, Steve's got a good view of Thandi. Off you go.
We have managed to stay with her. Sorry it's a bit bumpy, Dave. She is up and down through the thickets in search of who knows what, but the wind is blowing across, so directly towards her, and she's kind of moving across the wind left and right, trying to pick up on the scent of anything edible that might be lurking in the thickets there. Sense of smell is a very, very highly developed sense in leopards, and obviously she walks across the wind. Any animal that is hiding or lurking upwind of her here, she will try and find them through smell, because to find them through sight is very difficult, because they are often very slow moving camouflaged animals such as steenbok and duiker, or even a nyala or two. There she just goes on our right. Quite a marvelous morning we are having. I can't believe how quickly the time has gone. Dave and I were just remarking how quickly the morning's gone. It has been just helping Tom there. He's obviously wanting to see. So we're just going to go through the bushes here. Sorry, folks. Faith's last morning with us. What a director she is. Oh. We're going to miss you, Faith. This last section with Tandy was all for you, my dear. Just to remind you of what Djuma and the Sabi sand and the rattling testicular has just spotted Tandy and is not very happy with her approach. Whoa, sorry, tree. There she goes. Hello, Tom. Hello, Patsy. So I'm not going to make it through there. I just saw a land parrot, and it is not the tree. Your vehicle over. So we're busy losing picture, so let's go over to Scott, who I'm sure has got a much better visual of whatever he's looking at.
Yes, we've got a marvelous visual, Steve. You 100% correct. These wildebeest, well, were coming straight down the barrel towards us. A long stream of them. It could be the same herd that we saw a little bit earlier. The rest are not popping out. These are the kind of front runners. But it doesn't seem... It looks like it's too small of a herd, so maybe it's a different herd, but it wasn't not too far from here, there where we did have some wildebeest earlier. I think it's just the 4 of them here for now. Oh no, there are a few more coming, so it probably is the same herd we had earlier. And it'll be interesting to see if they do come out into a clearing, how many youngsters there are, because if there are in fact 6, then it could well be the same herd that we saw quite a lot of in December and January, quite close to camp. We're actually lucky enough to see 2 wildebeest births this season. It could be one of those 2, or both of those that we're looking at right now. They're born just a few months ago, a kind of caramel color, and within about 3 months they get their adult coloration. Quite impressive how quickly they develop, even how quickly their horns begin to poke out. Beautiful. Lots of birds chattering in the background, mainly francolins. couple of Cape turtle doves. Nice cool breeze also gently blowing this morning. The last few days the weather's been great. There's a kind of gentle breeze during the day to keep you cool, and then the early mornings and late evenings have ordinarily been absolutely dead still. Not a breath of wind. I'm wondering how much more rain we'll get this season. I'm hoping we get a few more downpours to not only help with the vegetation but also to fill up the water holes. Because if we don't get any more, it's going to make for an interesting winter for the herbivores. There's no two ways about that. Nicole, you've just made a very interesting remark, and I'm happy that you have admitted to this and accepted to everyone that you do not like wildebeest. And believe it or not, everyone, the reason why Nicole does not like wildebeest was because of the movie called The Lion King. And those people who made The Lion King owe a lot of apologies to not just the wildebeest. I don't know what they did wrong. I don't know why I don't like the wildebeest, actually. I don't know what they did wrong in The Lion King. I can't remember exactly how the story goes, to be honest. I mean, they trampled Scar, or Mufasa, or somebody got killed along the way there, but I mean, it wasn't their fault, really. It was the lion's fault for getting in the way of their hooves. The hyena, on the other hand, those poor creatures, those guys got terrible publicity from the Lion King. But you really should change your mind, Nicole, because they're wonderful creatures. Haven't done anything wrong to anyone as far as I know. Very good. Steve is back with Tandy.
To stay with her, and we're doing a sterling job at the moment, but it is getting exceedingly denser and denser as she just disappears through there into the long grass. Just missed her. She just tried to take a squirrel. She chased a squirrel, and the squirrel ran up into the tree, and what was so interesting about that was that the squirrel did not make a sound. Not an alarm call, not one sound. I think because it was on its own and it had a feeling that that leopard would quite easily jump up that tree and take it out, it decided to just sit there and not make a sound. Hello, Juliana, a newish viewer. You wanted to know how we know our leopards? The guides here spend a lot of time with them, and as soon as I find her again, we'll do a quick discussion on the spot pattern that these leopards have and how we identify them. And after a period of time, you can learn what a leopard looks like through the face, the spots on the face. But I really would like to show that to you, but I don't want to lose her at this very crucial moment. But there are spots on the face just below the whiskers that there she is, from early days in a cub form. There she walks in front of us there. But I can quickly show you on the book here, as Dave watches her disappear there. We can catch up with her. Here we have a spot pattern on a leopard. This is on the front cover of a book. You can see those three there just by the whiskers, and then on the other side there's another set pattern there. That's the pattern that people will often look at. And so this guy, or this female, would be a 3 or 4 dots, 3 dots. So all of our leopards are dotted, and we understand them that way. I'm still learning them quite well myself. Most of the viewers at home identify the leopards for us very quickly, because they've spent a lot of time with them. And not only do they identify from the face, I know James Richard out there, he's got patterns for the side of the animal, and whenever he sees one, he just zooms in that pattern and he on camera identifies it for us very quickly. So we can go on trying to follow them and find them. To me, it doesn't matter too much all the time what leopard you might have. Just trying to stay with it and observe its behavior is important. And which one doesn't really matter to me. But obviously for the story and the content, it's nice to know which individuals we have. And have I jinxed myself and lost her? I wonder. I hope not. She was being such a star. So I hope that answered your question about how we identify them. And this is Thandi, a magnificent leopardess, and she's got a cub somewhere. Hopefully she'll lead us to it at some stage. While we do that, let's go to Taylor with a feathered friend.
Well, he's back now, okay? Phew. I'm worried that he was disappearing. He was sitting out in the sun, preening himself so nicely. Now he seems to have found something on the other side of that marula branch. What you got in there? Probing away? I mean, they like to eat fruit. So I can't imagine what it's doing in there. Maybe there's a nest inside there, because they do make whole nests inside the trunk of trees. But he's disappeared now. Oh, I'm saying he. I don't know if it was a male or female. Oh, well. It was a beautiful crested barbet. I actually forgot how stunning they were. To be honest, I haven't been seeing too many of them. So that was the first decent look of a crested barbet that I've had since I've been back in South Africa. That was quite nice. We have them at home as well. We have lots of go-away birds and crested barbets in the garden. My mother likes to feed the birds. She's also convinced that she's trained... My mom, sometimes. She says that she has trained the minor birds, and they come inside. It's so funny. My dad, every time my mom tells these stories, he just sits there and he just shakes his head. We're also on the search for marulas, because marula season is basically coming to an end now. All the marulas looking very sad with their wilted leaves. So I'm trying to make the most of them and trying to gobble up as many as I can. I found one decent marula. It wasn't even that nice, in fact. It was an average marula. Where are all the female trees? Because the boys don't. Them. Well, perhaps we'll do the middle road. We'll see. Now, every time I answer this question, I choose a different one for a different reason. And Soraya, you've said, if I could come back as a bird, which bird would I choose to be? Oh no, I feel like I've just unplugged something. That's not supposed to happen, Soraya. Let me fix my earpiece quickly. I have to now, you can't watch me do this, because my hands are going down my shirt now. Hang on, there we go. Almost. Sorry, Soraya. Okay, back in action. We're back in action. Trying to remember what the last bird I chose. It probably was a secretary bird or an eagle of sorts. I'm going to go with an oxpecker this time. I'd like to be an oxpecker, because who wouldn't want to be able to dangle off the nose of a buffalo, or go down into a rhinoceros's ear and, feed on ticks and sit on the top between the ossicones of a giraffe, and also be able to dangle underneath them. Pretty cool, don't you think? Being able to cling onto all sorts of things. So yes, I think I would like to be an oxpecker this time round for my bird. What bird would you like to be, Soraya? Let me know. You can hashtag Safari Lab. Well, of course you know how, because you've already answered a question. Hello, Elephant. I was hoping it was Daryl, but it's not Daryl. Sadly, it's too small to be Daryl. It looks like a young Ellie bull. Also trying to do what I wanted to do this morning and get the last of the marulas. Please leave me some. Or if you want, you can throw one over here. That would be quite nice. 2, please. One for Sabi and I. And Sebastian, have you been bothered by the flies this morning?
Not too bad today.
Not too bad.
No.
I think Senzo and I took all of them yesterday. But I've come prepared. You can see the elephant is a bit bothered too, swatting his tail, flapping his ears. Oh, it's our one-tusked friend that's been roaming around. We've seen this elephant a few times. So today I made sure that I was prepared. Elephant, I'll trade you 2 marulas for some turpentine grass. How does that sound? Maybe. Look. One each. Now I need to try to do this. Sorry, Seb, I'm going to try to do this without setting my hands on fire. And, well, this is not so great. There we go. Get some smoke going. So with a turpentine grass, it's so great. If you burn it, you can see the smoke that it releases. That's a great insect repellent. I think my lighter may be dying though, as you can sort of see here. Oh well. We'll try again next time. Can you smell it?
Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
It doesn't smell bad actually. The bottom of the plant actually where a lot of the nodes and the sort of stems are doesn't smell too nice, but otherwise it's good stuff to hang around or to have around you close by. So I thought I saw it and I hadn't seen it for ages, so I quickly grabbed some. And it's quite flammable as well. When you have a lighter that works and no gusting wind, it's pretty good. So elephant, maybe I'll teach you if you can shake that tree and drop some more marulas. We'll work as a team. Hey, how does that sound? I think this bull will be around this afternoon. Keep an eye out for him on the dam cam. He doesn't look like he's gone for a drink or a mud wallow, and that's the perfect place. I hope you all enjoyed this cat-filled morning on the sunrise safari. Hopefully we'll be able to do it all again this afternoon for the sunset safari.